Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for yet another episode, exciting episode, I would hope, of playing Trial of Champions. Now, in this book, which I've played twice before now, it is exceedingly easy to die, even just in the very, very beginning of the game. Um, so I have started doing something I've thought of doing before, but it was about time. I've started putting up a death counter on my screen every time I die so that you can keep track of how many lives I've got left, or how many lives I've lost, I should say. Now, I have decided that because in this story of this book, you're starting out as one of 42 slaves sold as gladiators. Um, I've decided I will try to win this book in less than 42 tries. And that may sound a little bit preposterous, but actually, that is quite ambitious if you do it properly. And I will do it properly this time. Normally, I cheat a little bit by sort of skipping things and saving my game and going back just exactly where I need to. So in this one, basically what I will do is every time I die, I will put my new character through the same challenges that my old characters have faced, doing the dice rolls, the battles, etc., and see if they survive to get to my save game point, and so actually get an accurate death count. At some point, because of the length of that, I will probably have to shorten that a bit, or just not show it to you exactly what I'm doing, because it will be a little bit boring for you, I presume, to especially when you get to the point where you have like 10 battles and 5 luck rolls and 5 skill checks, and it's a lot of dice rolling and without anything else happening, and I presume that can get a bit boring. But I will do it and get an accurate death count. Okay. So our death counter, as you can see now, it stands at 5. I've got 42 lives, so to speak, to play with. I've got 37 left. And last time I decided I would skip the beginning. I think I've actually got quite a good track of what the best path through the beginning is. It's relatively linear. So I will start from the point where you are sent into the Deathtrap dungeon itself. I'll just tell you the backstory if you're new to this. You could, of course, watch the older episodes, but what has happened so far is as follows. You have been taken prisoner by a slave galley, where you've only been for a week, so you haven't actually strained that much sitting at the oars, rowing for a week, but you're still complaining about it. And you have then been sold as slaves. There are 42 of you that are sold as slaves to a chap called Karnas, if I remember correctly, who is the brother of Baron Sukhumvitz of Fang and Deathtrap dungeon fame. Karnas, he doesn't like being upstaged by his brother, and so he has decided that he will send a champion to defeat Baron Sukhumvitz's Deathtrap dungeon and win the prize and get the glory. And of course, the slave that will accomplish this will get their freedom. That's it, really. Yes, their freedom. The money, the 20,000 gold pieces, all that goes to Lord Karnas. And in order to find the person most suitable for this task, which doesn't seem like a good way to do it, as far as I can tell, because you just get 42 random slaves, and then you put them in gladiatorial battles where they fight amongst themselves and also against other things. And the victor, the one sole victor of those games, will be the one who will then go on to Deathtrap Dungeon. It doesn't seem like the best way to prepare for it, or the best way to find the perfect champion, but that is the way he's chosen to do it. And it's quite exciting because as a game book, it works really well. First of all, you have a very good motivation for going into the dungeon. because it's not about the glory or the money. It's because you have to survive. So I quite like that, and it's a good backstory as well. So that's how it begins. So I think I'll just get started, and I'll show you what I'll be doing to sort of run through new characters now as we go along. Okay. Traditional transition coming up. Okay, here we are on my desk. I've got my supplies, as I like calling it. I've got a bookmark. Yeah, that's new. Sometimes it's nice to have a bookmark. I've got my book, of course, very important. I've got my pens and my pencil. I've got dice. I've got my character sheet, which is blank at the moment. I've got my map from last time, yeah, I'll get back to that in a moment. And this is the one where you get into the dungeon itself. I'll just move the other one out of the way because for the beginning of the game I made a little flowchart of the things that I have to do now in order to run my new characters and prep them for the dungeon. And as you can see here, just to survive the first part of the game, disregard the failure things there, the minimum thing you have to do is test skill twice. You have to fight 1, 2, 3, 4 battles. There is a way to only fight 3 battles, but that involves an extra lock roll and also the possibility of losing skill. So I think that in terms of weighing out the pros and cons, 1 extra battle might actually be safer. So you have to test skill a few times. You have to roll a 1d6, and of course then you might have to test skill again and roll 1d6 again. So you do have a lot of possibilities here of ending up on death. I've not calculated the chances of getting through this beginning here, but I think even with good stats, this is actually not that easy. And this is just the beginning. This is the pre-game. This is what happens before you even get to the dungeon. Right, so I'll just run my new characters through this and see if they survive. So, as I told you earlier, just to remind you again, of course, our death score is on 5. And let's see if the next character can survive this as well. So we've got death. I put death on my character sheet here, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we've got skill, stamina, and luck. And I will re-roll a little bit because there are certain stats here that are definitely not survivable. So skill 12 is survivable. That's actually, I think, even with 12, because last time I had 12 and I didn't survive that long once I got into the dungeon. But 17 stamina, yeah, might work, and 12 luck. Okay, that is actually quite a good combination. Although the 17 stamina is probably what's going to kill me in this one, because you do need the stamina as well. I'm going to run this new character through my flowchart here. So first of all, it's a test of skill, and this is for the game, the gladiatorial game of running around the arena, and you got some rocks strapped to your back for extra weight, and you have to jump over glowing coals every time you run. And the first person to get lapped is the one that is out of the game. Of course, test of skill now, automatic. I don't have to roll technically, but I do have to roll the 1d6 here. And this is for 1d6. I think that was part of the fight against the next monster. I rolled a 6, which is good because then I get to the next bit. That means I win the battle there against the monster. Then I have to fight one of the other slaves. 10-8. So I'll just let's see. 10-8. That is pretty good. Well, this is excuse me. 10-8. This is the fight where you are, if I remember correctly, is that the one where you are in your cell and you're told there's only 2 of you left in the cell, and you're told that only one of you will be allowed out in the morning, so you have to kill the other one. Let's see, 12, 17, 10, 8. Okay, so with 2 skill point advantage, only 2. He rolls 3, I roll 8, so he's down to 6. He rolls 5, I roll 7, so he's down to 4. He rolls 10, I roll 6, I'm down to 15. 17 stamina is not going to be good enough, is it? He rolls 5, I roll 3, so that is a draw. He rolls 2, and I roll 8, he's down to 2. And finally he rolls 8, and I roll 5, so not quite finally yet. I may have to use luck in battle here, so 8 and 2. Okay, I'm down to 11. 4 and 10. Okay, so he is dead. Then there's another test of skill, and if you fail that test of skill, you are dead. So that is quite brutal, and this is another reason why you need a high skill. And this is for the game of skill, where you have to duck and jump alternately to avoid 2 rotating knives that are being spun around, and you just have to get into the rhythm of it. When I lose 1 luck because I have to do a luck test that doesn't actually technically make a difference to what happens next, and then I have to fight a 9-8. So we have that's another of the slaves now, and this is in the penultimate battle where everyone is blindfolded and given a ball and chain and a shield, and you're supposed to kill each other. You go into 2 groups, and each group will only be 1 man left standing. And then finally, those 2 men left standing are the ones who will fight right at the end. So that is the final battle. So first in 9-8, 3 skill point advantage. He rolls a 7, I roll a 9. Okay, so he's down to 6. He rolls a 7, I roll a 7. He's down to 4. He rolls a 7, I roll a 9, so he's down to 2. And finally, perhaps he rolls a 7, I roll an 8. He is dead. Then I have to fight another one. 8, 8. 4 skill point advantage. 7 and 5. So he's down to 6. 8 and 10. He's down to 4. 9 and 4, he hits me and I'm down to 9. 6 and 3, he's down to 2. And 8 and 9, and he is also dead. Then you are given some proper food and sleep, of course, so you regain some stamina, and it's back up to 13. Plus 4 stamina there, and finally you have to fight the 10-10, 10-10 like so. 2 skill point advantage only, not a lot. 4, he's down to 8. Maybe I'll use luck. No, I won't lose luck yet. 9, because you regain all stamina afterwards, so there's no point using luck unless you're about to die. 10, 8, that's a draw. 6, 11, he's down to 4. 8, he's down to 2. 10, he is dead. Usually that last battle is the easiest one. I don't know why, it's always easier. Then you regain all your stamina, because that's when you won the gladiatorial games, and you are then taken to Fang for the the Deathtrap dungeon, and that's where our game is going to start. So that is the process I will have to run through for every new character, and of course this would be one of the quicker ones because I had such good stats. Once you start messing up your rolls here, yes, and it's a loop here as well, there's other things going on. It can take a while, and also you are quite likely to die. So next time I do this, I probably won't show you what I'm doing. You'll just have to take my word for it that I've gone through it, and I'll show you the death count. How many more had to die to get one more champion to ascend to the Deathtrap dungeon, the revamped Deathtrap dungeon, I should add, because after last year somebody won it, which was in the book Deathtrap Dungeon. Baron Sukhumvit has, of course, made it even harder. So, right. 261. Where should I start here? I'll just start with the sort of end of this paragraph. So, without a backpack, food, or armor, you feel ill prepared for the coming ordeal. But at least you have this fine sword and a leather pouch at your belt. The sound of the crowd quickly dies away as you walk on down the dimly lit tunnel. What horrors lie before you, it is impossible to imagine, but you know that Baron Sukhumvit has spent the last year modifying his Deathtrap dungeon so that it is now reputedly lethal beyond comprehension. I can see Ian Livingstone really enjoying writing this book. Huh? But your desire to avenge the deaths of your fellow slaves makes you determined to succeed. The tunnel leads straight ahead for 50 meters, and then you come to a doorway in the left-hand wall with a "Keep Out" sign written on it in dried blood. You hear scratching and sniffing sounds coming from the other side of the door. If you wish to draw your sword and open the door, turn to 374. If you would rather keep walking down the tunnel, turn to 82. Now, behind this door is a Hellhound, which is not a hard opponent to beat. And if you beat it, you get a gold ring, which I know does work as payment on the bridge. Now, I don't know if there's any other safe way to cross the bridge, or if there is indeed any other way to acquire gold before you get to the bridge. I think I will go and fight the Hellhound, because it should be, with 12 skill, we don't need to avoid the battle. So, the door opens easily, and you step into a small room. And oh my, it's got rather bright here now. There we are. Before you have time to look around, a huge black Hellhound leaps at you with flames shooting out from its cavernous mouth. You must fight this savage beast to the death. There's a lot of in this book it says you must fight this and that to the death. I don't know if that's an Ian Livingstone thing. It just feels a bit like stating the obvious sometimes. 7, 6, and I have 12, 17. So I've got a 5 skill point advantage. Let's get started. 9, 6, 5, 4, and finally 5, 4. So that is a dead Hellhound, which is the kind that I prefer, I must admit. If you win, turn to 52. The room is empty apart from a pile of straw and old bones in the far corner. If you wish to rummage through the straw, turn to 36. I would like to rummage a bit, thank you very much. You find a gold ring lying on the stone floor. So I've got a gold under the straw. You place it in the leather pouch on your belt and then leave the room to continue along the tunnel. Turn to 82. The tunnel soon comes to an end at a T-junction. If you wish to head left, turn to 229. If you wish to head right, turn to 304. Now, the right does seem to be the right path, but there is a possibility. There is something interesting also towards the left. I will try the left this time. So 229. After 30 meters, you notice that the ceiling has about 20 spears pointing down from holes in the rock. You look on the ground for a tripwire which may trigger them, but do not see one. If you wish to walk on, turn to 390. If you would rather retrace your steps and walk back past the T-junction, turn to 304. That sounds quite nasty, doesn't it? So 304. So we got the option of heading back to the junction or walking on. Is it a trap? I mean, it is quite obvious. Or is it a bluff? The thing is, you never know. I mean, that is the concept of the dungeon, and of course, that is the concept of any Ian Livingstone book. So I shall try, for the sake of making sure that all options are exhausted, I will try to walk on and see what happens. I mean, even if it is a death trap, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that it adds color and excitement to go into a trap, doesn't it? Pressing yourself against the tunnel wall, you step slowly and carefully under the spears. You are soon beyond them and conclude that they must have been placed there as a deterrent. You reach up. Maybe it's a sort of a... First you have a really visible trap, and then you have a sneaky one afterwards. Yeah, that could be it, couldn't it? You reach up and are just able to touch the tip of a spear. If you wish to try to pull a spear out of its recess, turn to 110. If you would rather keep walking, turn to 5. I'm going to try to grab a spear, actually. That might come in handy. There we are. So 5, walk, or 110, spear. Standing on the tip of your toes, you reach up and grab the spear. One sharp tug loosens it from its fitting, but the others remain lodged in the ceiling. Pleased with the acquisition of this unexpected new weapon, you set off along the tunnel again. Turn to 5. So I've got a gold ring and a spear. Okay, +1 spear. Okay. Right, well, this doesn't look too bad at the moment. Looking quite promising, this direction, actually. Ahead, you see the tunnel bend sharply to the right, but you do not see a crossbow mounted on the dark wall pointing straight at you. I didn't know. Roll 1 die. If you roll 1 to 4, turn to 1 to 8. Okay, so we have 1d6 and we have 2 options. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit sniffly now. This is that time of year. I'm sure I am getting a little bit sensitive to some kind of pollen or something. I was not sniffly a few days ago, and now it is, of course, more springy outside. So anyway, 1 to 8, 1 to 4, and 3, 1, 3, 5 to 6. I don't know which is good and which is bad. Let's just roll the die and see what happens. 1 to 8. You step on a flagstone which activates the crossbow. The bolt flies down the narrow tunnel and thuds into your body. Oh dear. Roll 1 die. So maybe 5 to 6 is a good roll on the first one. So a 1d6 again. If you roll 1, turn to 382, 2 or 3, 4. Okay, so we got a 1, 2, 3 options there. 382, 1, 145, 2 to 3, or 39 for rolling 6. Oh, hang on. 4 options, obviously. 39 is... Oh no, 4, 5, or 6. I was... okay, 4 to 6. I was looking at the wrong place there. Okay. Right, so I'm rolling a die again, and I rolled a 6. I don't know if that's good or bad, and let's find out if that is the worst or the best outcome. Could be either in these ones. Usually the 6s are the good outcomes, aren't they? It doesn't have to be. The impact of the crossbow on the bolt knocks you backwards. A fierce pain grips your thigh where you see the bolt protruding. Lose 2 stamina points. That sounds like a good outcome. -2 stamina. Gritting your teeth, you pull the bolt from your thigh and bandage the wound as best you can. Limping painfully, you turn the corner and walk on. Let's see, I'll just need to reduce my stamina as well before I forget. Limping painfully, you turn the corner and walk on another 50 meters before coming to a door in the right-hand wall. If you wish to open the door, turn to 104. If you'd rather keep on walking, turn to 20. So I'm going to put those two options up there. So 20, walk, and 104, door. I'm going to open the door, of course. The door opens into a room which is empty except for a large bowl of exotic-looking fruit standing on a marble plinth. If you wish to eat some of the fruit, turn to 395. If you'd rather leave the room and continue up the tunnel, turn to 20. So I am probably going to try to eat something. 395, eat. Quite a common thing in these books to have some fruit or something that show up so you can eat it. It's usually not poisonous, which leads me to think that maybe this time it is poisonous and that you will die horribly if you eat something. I'm going to eat something. The fruit is delicious and satisfying. Add 2 stamina points. Maybe this is I just realized if fruit in these fighting fantasy books always gives you 2 stamina points, is this a sort of sneaky part of a campaign to get children to eat more fruit? Could be, you know. Maybe all the books are secretly sponsored by some kind of health organization. Okay. Plus 2 stamina. So I'm getting my stamina back to 17. Yes, turn to 20, of course. 20. Suddenly you see movement ahead in the tunnel. A small humanoid looks back and then runs away from you. Intrigued by the being, you decide to run after him. Why do I decide that? I'm supposed to be the hero here. I'm the one who's supposed to be in charge of decisions. Thank you very much. No, I decide to run after him. Yes, that was my choice all along. Well, in the deterministic universe, yeah, of course you didn't have a choice, did you anyway? There's the illusion of choice, which is, I mean, if it hadn't been the illusion of choice, game books would have been so boring if everyone realized that they never had a choice. Okay. The thing is, even if you don't have a choice, you don't know what your illusion of choice is going to be, and so it is still quite interesting. Yeah, anyway. I'm not going to say too much about that because that'll take too long. The humanoid disappears around the corner, and by the time you turn the right-hand bend, he is nowhere to be seen. You carry on down the tunnel until you come to a door on the left-hand wall. If you wish to open the door, turn to 353. If you do not wish to stop, turn to 133. That's an unusual wording, but yes. If you do not wish to stop. That means continue running after him, I suppose. So basically now, if you go through the door, you keep running after him. Or maybe he has already gone through the door. Is that possible? Why do I keep running after him anyway? It's a humanoid figure. Could he help me? Could he be a danger? Right, 353. 133. Onwards. I think I won't stop. I'm going to run after him and see what is up. So I'm going to skip the room there. Looking down the tunnel, you see that there is an opening in the left-hand wall. Suddenly you see a small head peer out from around the corner, and judging by its height off the ground, you deduce it is the small humanoid again. You call out and give chase, but by the time you have rounded the corner, he is nowhere to be seen. This is not the kind of behavior you should be showing in a dungeon full of traps, is it? You're not supposed to be chasing after people. I mean, you're running. You could run into a trap and not even noticed. After being so careful with the spears, and now suddenly you just throw all caution to the wind. Right. 287, and now obviously you can't stop yourself from chasing this guy. You soon reach a door in the left-hand wall of the tunnel. You listen at the door but hear nothing. If you wish to open the door, turn to 156. If you wish to keep walking, turn to 222. Now, when I listen to the door and I hear nothing, do I hear nothing, or do I hear the sound of somebody trying to be really quiet? Because that's a different thing, even though it sounds the same. I'm going to open this door. So that's walk and door. So 156, I'm going to check what's inside them. The door opens into a narrow, gloomy corridor, at the end of which you see a stone plinth with a large glass dome resting on top of it. 4 black candles are burning on each of the corners of the plinth, illuminating the dome with an eerie glow. As you approach, you see that there is a tiny man trapped inside the dome, jumping up and down, trying to attract your attention. The man is no more than half a meter tall and is wearing tight-fitting black hose. You notice that his ears are pointed and that he has a wispy grey beard. He gestures to you to lift the glass dome. If you decide to do as the man bids you, turn to 199. If you would rather walk back down the corridor and return to the tunnel, turn to 222. Okay. 199. Open, I suppose I can call it that. Right. I don't know. I mean, he looks like a cross between a genie and a leprechaun. And, well, a genie can be helpful, but a leprechaun is definitely trying to trick you. I'm going to let him out. I'm going to let him out. Oh dear. As soon as you lift the dome, the candles are extinguished, and the corridor is plunged into darkness. You hear laughter echoing down the corridor before your head starts to spin and you lose consciousness. You have been tricked by a black imp, who has now run off with all the contents of the pouch on your belt. Oh well. Easy come, easy go. Okay. And so do not open that. Okay, so also lose 1 luck point. So it's -1 luck, minus all items. Exclamation point. Okay. When you finally come round, the imp is nowhere to be seen, so you return to the tunnel and carry on. Turn to 222. Right. Further along the tunnel, you stumble upon a pile of rocks. Something underneath the rocks catches the light and sparkles. Carefully, you remove some of the rocks until you can see what is hidden underneath. It is a broadsword, finely honed and perfectly balanced. If you wish to use it instead of your own sword, turn to 240. Well, I thought I had a magnificent sword, but yeah, maybe this is magical. Maybe it's cursed. Right, so 2 options. 7, continue, or 240, use sword. I will use that sword. I'll see if it's worth it. The broadsword is an excellent weapon made by a famous armorer. is also magical. Cutting the mighty blade through the air, you continue your quest. Turn to 7. So it didn't give me any bonuses, but maybe there will be a time when having a magical sword will be the only thing that will help against a certain adversary, and that will be worth it, of course. 7. You soon arrive at another door in the tunnel wall. The handle turns, but wooden boards have been nailed across the doorframe. If you wish to lever the boards off with your sword, turn to 336. If you would rather press on along the tunnel, turn to 45. Now, there's two reasons why you would board off a room. It's either because to keep something in, or to tempt somebody else to break in, because I think there's something important there. You can't tell with this book, can you? So, either continue, or 336 open. So I'm going to try to open the door. I'm going to try to lever off the boards. The nails holding the boards in place make a loud creaking noise as you prise the boards away. Test your luck. 7. Okay, that's good. Let's see. Test luck. And I got. If you're lucky, turn to 122. Lucky. Or unlucky, turn to 76. Unlucky. Okay. Lucky, lucky, lucky. I should be so lucky. Despite all the noise you make, no creature of any kind arrives to investigate. At last, the final board comes free, and you're able to open the door. Turn to 13. Yes. Lucky 13. I'm going to move my 13 there, I think. 13. You pull the door open and walk into a small room which has not been entered for years. A thick layer of dust covers everything, and cobwebs hang down like dirty old curtains. Two skeletons, mouths hanging open, lie half submerged in the dust, propped up against the far wall. One of the skeletons is pointing at the other. Suddenly the door, perhaps he used to have a sort of a t-shirt saying, "I'm with stupid." Suddenly the door slams shut behind you, and the pointing skeleton starts to speak. "Brothers and sisters have I none, but that man's father is my father's son. Who is he?" Would you run for the door? Reply, he is his grandfather. Reply, he is his father. Reply, he is his son. I'm going to write all this down before I do the riddle there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 options. I'll just put them down this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 207 door. 84 grandfather. 302 father, or 371 son. Okay, so let's look at the riddle again. So, brothers and sisters have I none. So, of course, there's no siblings involved, so that means it's up and down lineage, probably. That man's father is my father's son. So, that means that the guy talking is the other guy's dad. If you had brothers and sisters, it could have been the uncle, of course, or the aunt. So he is his father. Oh, actually, well, the other guy is his son. I just have to look at who's the point of. So that man's father is my father's son. Who is he? So of course that means that. Oh, hang on. Yes, I'm confusing things now. So the person talking says that man's father is my father's son. So that means that the person he's talking about is his son. It could actually be ambiguous, this, because yeah, because he could actually point back to two different things. But yes, so he is his son in that case. The person is the son of the person talking. You are a wise challenger, the voice from the skeleton states without emotion. You are a wise challenger. Your reward for passing this part of the test is in the drawer of the table. The skeleton's mouth remains open, but no more sound issues from it. You look around the dark room and soon find a small table with a drawer. Carefully you slide the drawer open and find a small iron key inside. So I got an iron key, but I don't have a spare, and I don't have a gold ring. So, right, spear. Not a spare, a spear. Did I say spare? I think I might have said spare. I meant spear. Anyway. Right, so key. So we get iron key. Usually with the keys, there's a difference between an iron key, a silver key, a large key, a small key, etc. So it's nice to keep track of which is which. Now, judging from the structure of this game so far, it looks like maybe going across the bridge like I did last time is the wrong way about it. Or is it? Is it possible to get back onto this? Are these two paths completely separate all the way up, or do they merge somewhere down here? I don't know. Or maybe I will find out at some point if I manage. I might not do it within 42 lives. So might need more than that. 45. So we are going back to the paragraph that is the same as not going into the room at all. Definitely going into that room. Like so. Okay. Right. 45. It is not long before you arrive at yet another door in the left-hand tunnel wall. If you wish to open the door, turn to 235. If you'd rather keep on walking, turn to 177. I'm wondering if, for the sake of clarity, I should move to a new page of map now, because this could get rather messy. So I'm going to move paragraph 45 now up here. And go on from there. So we have a door, or keep walking. So 177 or 235 door. I'm going to check out the door, I think. The door opens into an empty room. You enter the room cautiously, and as you do so, the door swings slowly shut behind you. You search the room for a secret passageway, but find no sign of one. To your surprise, the door is not locked, and you are able to walk out into the tunnel. However, you do not know that you entered a room of teleportation and are in a different tunnel from the one you were walking along previously. Well, I know now, because you told me, didn't you? Unaware of your teleportation, you walk on down the tunnel. Well, I'm aware of it. 378. Okay. That is the worst way to write, to tell you that there's something that you don't know ever. I mean, they could have just made it a surprise. Right. You follow the tunnel around a right-hand bend until it ends at a wooden door. You have no choice but to open it and are surprised by what you see inside the room. Well, you could have had a choice of going back, obviously. 73. And why am I surprised at what's inside the room? Is that a bit of a cliffhanger there? Sitting cross-legged in the middle of the room is a fat, bald man, Eastern in appearance. He sits motionless and holds a bamboo pole between his outstretched hands. Half a dozen colored wooden blocks are hovering in a circle in mid-air above him. The man's eyes are grey and blank, and he is obviously blind. The room is sparsely furnished with a slatted wooden bed, a cupboard, and a large wooden chest, which has prided place in the center of the floor. Welcome, Contestant Number Two. I have been waiting for you. I am Noy, a trial master, and a servant of Baron Sukhumvit. My duty is to test you in 3 ways before allowing you to proceed. Are you ready? If you wish to obey the trial master, turn to 369. If you would rather attack him with your sword, never a good idea, turn to 200. So, let's put teleport down there, just in case because I need to find out how it connects with. If you can get to this place, you can probably get to this place via another route as well, which probably is where you need to go to pick up some essential items. I'm guessing now. So 369, no, 200 attack, which means certain death, presumably, and 369 obey. Okay. The 3 things I am instructed to test you in are strength, intelligence, and fighting ability. Should you fail any of these tests, you will not be allowed to continue the trial of champions. We insist on a worthy winner. The first test will be a tug of war against a caveman. A door behind the trial master opens, and a huge man with long hair dressed in ragged furs strides into the room. The trial master taps the floor in front of him with his pole, and the floor drops away to reveal a dark pit. He then orders the caveman to fetch a thick rope from the cupboard. He gives you the end of the rope and tells you to take the strain with the rope pulled taut over the pit. He counts to 3 and then shouts, "Heave!" The caveman's strength is incredible, and you grit your teeth and pull as hard as you can. The caveman has skill 7. Oh, yes, incredible strength, yes. Oh, yeah. I could do it with my little finger. Okay. Famous last words. Resolve the tug of war as you would in normal combat, but do not reduce stamina as no wounds are inflicted. Make a note of who wins each attack round. If you are first to win 4 attack rounds, turn to 3, 5, 2. Okay, so I've got a 5 skill point advantage. He rolls 8, I roll 8, so I've got 1. He rolls 8, I roll 8, I've got 2 rounds. He rolls 8, I roll 4, I've got 3 rounds. He rolls 9, and I roll 6, and I've got 4 rounds. Okay, so to the 352, yes. Okay, so 3, 5, 2, and that is win 4 rounds. Or 99, lose 4 rounds. Right. Your strength is greater than that of the caveman. With a mighty heave, you pull him forward and watch him fall headlong down the pit. Unconcerned by the loss of his servant, the trial master speaks again. I will now ask you a question. Think carefully before answering. He points at the wooden chest in the middle of the room and says, "Inside this chest there are 6 more chests, and each of those contains 3 smaller chests. How many chests are there altogether?" If you know the answer, turn to the reference with the same number. If you are wrong or do not know the answer, turn to 72. So I'll just put up the options there. So that is 72. Don't know. Put that there. And then there is a secret paragraph that is the number. So we have inside the chest there are 6 more chests, and each of those contain 3 smaller chests. So that means that each of the chests inside have 3, so that's 18 plus the big one on the outside is 19. So 19 chests, that should be number 19. 6 times 3, yeah, plus 1. But number 19 doesn't tell me that at all. That's weird. So that doesn't make any sense. There are 6 chests. And each of those have 3 chests inside. But number 19 is not the right answer, so that can't be. That's not right. Am I thinking about this the wrong way? Because it seems there's only one way to think about it. It's very simple. Oh. 3 times 6 plus 6 plus 1. It's so easy to miss one step, isn't it? So it's 18 plus 6 plus 1. 18 plus 7 is 25. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna pretend that that didn't happen. I'll just have to look at 72 there. Yeah. I'm just gonna, because I didn't think about it long enough, I'm gonna give myself 1 death. Yeah, 1 death as well. 1 death. Because, yeah, I was a bit hasty. But I will keep playing with the same character for now, just to make it a little bit easier. So the trial master remains silent for a moment and then says slowly, "You have passed the second test. Now comes the final part. Combat with me. We will fight with bamboo poles, not to the death, but as a simulation of a sword fight. Any strike to the head or chest will be considered a death blow. For your information, my blindness is no handicap, as my ears will tell me where you are. Now fetch your pole from the cupboard, for I am ready." As you take the pole, the trial master stands up and the wooden blocks fall to the ground. Treading silently on bare feet, he moves towards you, his head turned to one side to aid his hearing. You wish to lunge at him with your pole and catch him off balance with a quick strike, turn to 134. If you would rather ready yourself to counter a blow, turn to 204. How would I be catching him off balance, though? That doesn't make any sense, because he is obviously in balance. He is ready to fight. He is moving slowly towards me. He is not off balance. Anyway, I'm going to... let's see, 1, 3, 4, quick or counter. I'm going to ready for counter blow, actually, because he'll really be ready for the first one. The agile old man strides nimbly towards you with the bamboo pole held to one side. You cannot tell whether he is going to bring the pole down over his head or strike at your head, or sideswipe you in the ribs. If you wish to anticipate a strike to the head, turn to 111. If you wish to defend your ribs, turn to 32. Right. So basically, this is sort of rock, paper, scissors now, isn't it? 1, 1, 1, head. 32. Ribs. But why would he attack me in the ribs? Well, I suppose because the aim of the game is to hit the head, wasn't it? What was the set again? Strike to the head or chest. Okay, so it could be either, I suppose. I'm going to anticipate a strike to my ribs, 32. You anticipate the Trial Master's move. He brings the pole around in a sweeping arc towards your side, but you block it with ease. His pole strikes your own with a loud crack. That's not a very good way to defend yourself, though. If he's using a sweeping arc, what you do is then you move forward into it, and so you can just kill him easily. Anyway. And also that would leave plenty of time for me to actually just strike him, wouldn't it? I'll try to do a counter attack and see if that helps. So 2, 3, 9. Or 2, 6, 7. Defend. Attack. So I'm going to try to counter attack. 2, 3, 9. You thrust your right arm forward in an attempt to strike the Trial Master's neck. He tries to counter your blow by bringing his pole up quickly across his body. His skill score is 8. Roll 2 dice. If the total is the same as or less than his skill score, turn to 248. Okay. So that is a roll versus 8. Actually, that's easier. There's an easier way to do that on my thing here, because you could just say 2d6, and then I'll say 2, 4, 8, 2, 9, 8, and then I'll just put 1 to 8 on one and 9 to 12 on the other. That's a lot easier way to say it, I think. The Trial Master reacts quickly and blocks your thrusting pole. Sweat breaks out on his forehead as the Trial Master realizes that you are a better fighter than he originally thought. Making the most of your psychological advantage, you step forward to strike again. If you wish to execute a body blow, turn to 320. If you wish to make an overhead strike, turn to 385. So we've got two options. 320 body or 385 overhead. Right. I think I'll go with an overhead strike, actually. 385. The Trial Master does not expect another blow to his head and wrongly keeps his pole low. Your pole thumps against his head and you let out a victory cry. You have triumphed against the odds in ritual combat. Turn to 362. So 362. So that means that whatever I did now is a correct way of doing it, I guess. Although, of course, there may be a possibility that actually, yeah, maybe, yeah, because he defended himself, didn't he? So most likely I should be able to sort of win with the same kind of technique later. 362. Throat is getting very dry. The Trial Master stands back, panting heavily. Once he has caught his breath again, he says, "You have passed the third test. You may now continue your walk through the dungeon. Leave this room through the door behind me." The old man offers you no words of advice or encouragement, so you leave his room. You open the door and pass through the squalid sleeping area of the Caveman, into another long, gloomy tunnel. You soon come to a stone fountain in the shape of a leaping fish. If you wish to drink at the fountain, turn to 95. If you would rather continue walking, turn to 329. So we have 329 walk or 95 drink. Do I need any? What is my stamina these days? It's 17, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm at 7. I'm at full stamina, full skill, not full luck. Do I need to drink at the fountain? Will that give me an advantage? It could give me a luck back. It is possible. I do have 10. I should be able to manage. Probably the risks outweigh the benefits at this moment. So I'm going to go to 329. Soon you hear the sound of hoofs clattering along the stone floor. The sound echoes down the tunnel. Then you see a shape emerging from the gloom. Seated astride a white skeleton horse is an armored skeleton with a crown on its skull. Seeing you, the skeleton king kicks its undead horse into a gallop and holds its sword aloft. You must fight the mounted undead. That's quite a nice picture there. I'll just focus on that a little bit. There we go. Unless you have a hammer with which to fight the Skeleton King, you will only cause it to lose 1 stamina point during a successful attack round. Edged weapons like swords and daggers do little harm to skeletons. Unless you have a hammer with which to fight the Skeleton King, you will only cause it to lose 1 stamina point during a successful attack round. So, 9, 7, asterisk, and then it says hammer, question mark. So obviously I've missed 1 item so far. I should be alright though. Even so. 9, 7, and I've got 12, 17. So I've got 3 skill point advantage. Let's see how it goes. So he rolls 12. I'm on the 12s again. 10. Okay, so I hit him actually, but only for 1 damage. He rolls 11. I roll 7, so I'm down to 15. That's be a 6 there. He rolls 7. I roll 3. He rolls 7. I roll 3. Can't keep going like that, can I? He rolls 10. I roll 3. Oh dear. He rolls 8. I roll 7. Okay, that's better. He rolls 6. I roll 6. He rolls 9. I roll 3, which seems to have been my sort of typical number now. He rolls 6. I roll 8. He's down to 3 now. He rolls 8. I roll 5. He's down to 2. He rolls 8. I roll 9. He's down to 1 hit point. And finally, perhaps he rolls 7 and I roll 8. And he is dead than before. Right. If you win, turn to 209. So we have 209. You open the horse's saddlebag and find a mirror and a wooden whistle. So mirror, wooden whistle. You slip them inside your pouch and continue along the tunnel. It soon ends at a T-junction. If you wish to go left, turn to 129. If you wish to go right, I think I'll do another page turn here. In fact, that reminds me, and while I remember it, because I always like keeping my pages numbered, 21, 21, page 1, FF21, page 2, and FF21, page 3, and FF21, page 4, and we're starting with 209, 209, there we are. Right, and I can make a note of, let's see, it's a whistle and a mirror. If there are mirrors, there are often some kind of gorgons or basilisks or medusae or something like that. Right, so we got two options, left or right. Classical. 1, 2, 9. 3, 5, 1. At least they're not doing the. I remember in the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, inside the dungeon, you were still doing east and west and north and south. I suppose it makes more sense to do left and right and things like that, really. Although, of course, it does aid you in mapping if you're doing the cardinal directions, but it wouldn't be very realistic in a way to do them inside the dungeon where you can't see the stars or the moon, and also you wouldn't have a compass. So, anyway, left or right? I'm going to go right. 3, 5, 1. After 20 meters or so, you come to an iron grate in the floor. If you wish to lift the grate, turn to 74. If you would rather keep on walking, turn to 174. So we have an iron grate, 74 or 174. So walk or open. I'm going to open the grate. Usually not a good idea, but yeah. As you begin to lift the grate, it suddenly flies up in the air, pushed from below by a powerful and hideous creature. A grotesque head appears on a long segmented body. It has no eyes, but a large suckered mouth surrounded by sharp hooks, and it strongly resembles a giant tapeworm. Attracted by the heat of your body, the bloodworm extends its body forward in an attempt to hook onto your flesh. Roll 1 die. So 1d6, and there's two options there depending on what I roll. Let's see, I'll just move a little bit, so I'm definitely inside the frame there. 3, 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, 4, 4 to 6. So 1 die to bring them all. 3, 2, 5 is where I'm going. You are surprised by the speed with which the bloodworm's head darts forward. It manages to sink its mouth hooks into your thigh to suck your blood. Lose 2 stamina points, and my stamina is now 5. So minus 2 stamina and 4, 6. I'm battling that. You start to hack at the head of the vile creature. During each attack round, you will lose 2 stamina points automatically, whether or not you win the attack round due to loss of blood. Okay, and I don't have many hit points left, so that means I have to expedite things a little bit. So even though this only got 4, 6, that means 3 attack rounds, which means I will be dead in 3 attack rounds, which means I have to use luck now to survive. I've got 12, 5. I need to kill it in 2 rounds, and I need to hit both rounds, which is quite likely, of course. I may miss out on the luck roll, though, so this is going to be quite exciting. So, 8 skill point advantage. He rolls 12. I roll 6. Could have ended right there. And I will use luck to do extra damage to him. 6, yeah. So my luck goes down to 9. He has 2 hit points left. And I am down to 3 hit points. Next round, he rolls a 6. I roll a 9, and then I check for. I don't need to check for luck. I just need to hit him now. So he's dead, and I've got. Yes, I will lose 2 more points there. So I've got one single stamina point left. Right. If you win, turn to 123. So we have 1, 2, 3. Okay. And also I'll put an asterisk there. I presume if you roll 4 to 6, you wouldn't lose that 2 extra each round. You look into the bloodworm's foul lair beneath the grate, but see nothing. The floor is covered with fetid sludge, and the smell makes you feel nauseous, or nauseated probably. If you wish to climb down into the lair, turn to 243. If you'd rather walk on up the tunnel, turn to 174. Now, I think that if this battle shall have been worth something, it will be because there is something down in his lair for me to find. I will climb down into it and have a look. So I'm going to go to 243 and see if I can find something in this nasty, nauseating place. You drop knee-deep into the thick brown sludge. The dark brown body of the bloodworm is about 8 meters long and is coiled round inside its stinking lair. You poke around in the sludge with your sword and come into contact with something solid. You reach down and pick up a corked bottle. You wipe off the sludge and see that it is made of dark green glass. There is a piece of paper inside the bottle which reads, "There is a door behind the pile of stones." So this is actually a clue. There is a door behind the pile of stones. Now I hope that although I wouldn't bank on it, that the option of looking behind the pile of stones is only available to you if you have seen the bottle. But knowing Ian Livingstone, that may not be the case. I know Steve Jackson, he would have made it so that you could only go behind the pile of stones to find the door if you knew the clue. But Ian Livingstone, he's usually not that sophisticated, I'm sorry to say, when it comes to this, and he would just say, "There's a pile of stones, do you want to examine it?" And then you find the door. Whether you got the clue or not, and that makes it less worth it to find the clue. And I think that as a sort of a gamebook structure, it makes it less interesting as well, because it allows you to skip things that shouldn't really be skipped, if you see what I mean. Right. It makes no sense to you, but you make a mental note of it. Finding nothing else of use, you climb out of the lair and carry on walking along the tunnel. 174, and I need stamina. I knew stamina was going to kill me. Yeah. The tunnel turns sharply to the left and then doubles back on itself. You walk along it for 50 meters before coming to a wooden door. The lower jawbone of a dog is mounted crudely above the door. So usually what's mounted on the door indicates what's inside. I suppose that is a clue. If you wish to open the door, turn to 26. If you would rather walk on, turn to 379. So we have 26 door or 379 walk. I'm going to open the door. May as well. I'm going to die soon anyway. Oh yes, it's Cerberus. As soon as you touch the door handle, you hear loud barking and growling. You push the door open and see a vicious-looking two-headed black dog straining at a leash fastened to a hook in the far wall of a small room. Its eyes are red and saliva drips continuously from its fanged mouths. The room is in a terrible mess, with everything broken or chewed by the dog. However, on the shelf mounted on the wall behind the dog, there is a metal box. Will you attack the dog, blow your wooden whistle if you have one, or close the door and walk on up the corridor? So I can blow the whistle in this case. Okay, so Cerberus, by the way, the two-headed dog that guarded the entrance to Hades or something in Greek mythology, of course. Actually, this reminds me, because in Greek it's Kerberos, because in Latin, when you had any kind of Greek word that had K, they wrote it with a C, because in Latin, C was a K. There was no... If you wanted an S sound, you used an S. If you wanted a K, that was the C. And so lots of words now in English are pronounced with C as an S because they were written, because it was a K that was written with a C in Latin. So really it should be Kerberos in English, but because we got this via Latin, it's all messed up and it's pronounced like a C, like an S. Which is a little bit annoying when you know the etymology, actually, because it changes things a little bit. So you had King Cyrus of Persia, of course. He was King Kyros, You have Kerberos, of course, the two-headed dog. Which other ones do you have? Can't think of anything else now, but there are other ones that should have been pronounced with a K. Anyway. Right, so we got 3 options: attack, 2, 9, 4, attack, 67, a whistle, or 379. Oh, hang on. I don't need to put 379 there because I've already got that on my map. So I'm going to blow the whistle and go to 67. Yes, I've got 13 minutes left on my camera. Right, so I can give you... The high-pitched note emitted by the whistle has a tranquilizing effect on the dog. It stops growling and slowly its eyes start to close. It flops down to the floor and is soon fast asleep. Turn to 217. 217. You step over the dog, reach up to the shelf and take the box. You prise it open with your sword and find a copper bracelet inside. Copper bracelet. Copper bracelet. If you wish to place the bracelet on your wrist, turn to 317. If you would rather leave the room without it and continue along the tunnel, turn to 379. So we have 379 or 317. I am definitely going to put the bracelet on. Although that's a terrible idea, of course. Do not try this at all. As soon as you place the bracelet on your wrist, your arm feels weak and starts to shake. The bracelet is cursed, but you are unable to remove it. Of course, lots of cursed items, you are unable to remove them. Lose 2 skill points and 1 luck point. -2 skill, -1 luck. There is nothing you can do except leave the room and carry on as best you can. Turn to 379, which means that the whole room is actually pointless to go into. So you don't actually want to enter the room at all, I would say. But it's nice with stuff like this because that adds flavor, and we want flavor in a game. Like, I mean, if game book without flavor is basically just rolling a few combats and a few skill rolls, and then you said, oh, and now you said, oh, you win. It's a story, isn't it? The narrative, the dangers, the narrow escapes, the colorful insta-deaths. That's all the stuff that makes it exciting. And 379. Oh, I need to reduce my skill by 2 and my luck by 1. There we are. The tunnel continues straight ahead until it ends at a T-junction. If you wish to turn left, turn to 162. If you wish to turn right, turn to 251. So I'm going to put those up here, like so. Well, I'm happy to make it into T-junction there on my map. And 162 is left, and 251 is right. I'm going to turn left this time, 162. You soon come to the edge of a pit which looks too wide for you to jump across. If, nevertheless, you wish to take a running jump over the pit, turn to 276. If you would rather walk back up the tunnel and past the T-junction, turn to 251. So we have a pit here that we can try to jump, and that's 276. Jump, or go back to the junction. I'm going to go back, actually. I don't think I'll survive a pit right now. There is an archway in the left-hand wall through which you see a brass bell mounted on the wall at the end of a narrow corridor. If you wish to ring the bell, turn to 90. If you would rather continue straight on, turn to 333. So we have 2 options. Straight on, straight, or 90 bell. I'm going to ring the bell. Live dangerously. And this is soon a record for how long I've lived in any fighting fantasy book with 1 stamina left. A delicate sound rings out from the small bell as you tap it with the hilt of your sword. You hear a fluttering of wings overhead. You get ready to defend yourself, but a white dove flutters down and settles on top of the bell. Much to your amazement, it is holding a gold ring in its beak, which drops into the palm of your hand. Are you collecting gold rings? Because there's a second gold ring I've seen. So now I've got a gold ring again. Gold ring. With the ring safely stored in your pouch, so that's something you want to do. Safely stored in your pouch, you walk back down the corridor and turn left into the tunnel. Turn to 333. Okay, so 333. The tunnel ends at a T-junction. Looking left, you see that the way is blocked by a pile of rocks. There might be a door behind there. To your right, you see a wooden door some 20 meters down the tunnel. If you wish to investigate the rock pile... Yeah, missed opportunity there, Ian Livingston. You should have made the clue mandatory. Okay. So 96 rocks, or if you wish to walk towards a door, turn to 375. So door. So I'm going to investigate the rocks because I know that there's something behind there. You pull a few rocks away from the pile and see that there is a doorway behind. If you wish to spend time clearing away the rocks so that you can open the iron door, maybe it needs an iron key. Turn to 215. If you would rather walk to the door on the other side of the T-junction, turn to 375. So I'm going to clear the door. 215. I presume since the clue was so hard to find that this must be an important door. So I'm going to clear it. 215. It takes about 20 minutes to clear the rocks away. Eventually you turn the handle of the door and shove on it with your shoulder. The rusty old door creaks open and you find yourself standing in a disused tunnel. The air is dank and musty and you cannot see far into the gloom. But as your eyes become accustomed to the dark, you can see that there is no way forward, as the roof of the tunnel has caved in. On the back of the door there are words and numbers written in chalk, but it is too dark to see them properly. If you wish to fetch a torch from the main tunnel so that you can see to read the words and numbers, turn to 394. That sounds like a good idea then. 394, torch. If you would rather forget about the derelict tunnel and walk to the door on the other side, go to 375. So I'm going to get a torch and see if I can read this stuff. The torchlight casts eerie shadows inside the derelict tunnel, but you are concerned only with the words and numbers on the back of the door. In barely legible writing you read set 1249. Let's see, set 1249. So set 1249, and that is a clue. Possibly. You make a mental note of what you read and then walk out through the door towards the door on the other side of the T-junction. Turn to 375. There we are, 375. All arrows lead to 375. Right, 375. From the other side of the door, you hear the agonized cry of a man in pain. If you wish to open the door, turn to 168. If you would rather keep on walking, I thought it was at the end of a corridor now, turn to 138. So, okay, 168, 168, and 138. So walk and open. I'm going to open the door and see what's going on there. The door opens into a large room with a massive stone face carved into the back wall. Stone steps rise up to its huge open mouth, and at the top of these steps you see one of the other contestants writhing in agony. A large purple tongue like a giant snake is wrapped around the elven prince, who is desperately stabbing at it with his dagger. If you wish to help the elven prince, turn to 77. If you would rather leave him and continue along the tunnel, turn to 138. Okay. Are you going to get a temporary ally in this book as well? That would be not unusual, I guess. Oh, hang on, 138, that's up there. So help, 77. I'm going to... The thing is, how much help can I give someone if I only got 1 stamina? Not much, is it? Right. I'm probably going to die anyway. Should I try to help him and see, just to see what kind of help is needed? 77, okay. The hill troll catches sight of you from the corner of its eye and turns to face you. It looks even angrier than before and picks up its battle axe to attack you in a raging frenzy, and I'm going to definitely die here. So 9, 10. And if you win, go to 65. Okay, so 65. Okay, 65. Right, probably don't need to write much now because it's 9, 10 versus 10, 1. So he rolls 7, I roll 7. He's down to 8. I'll use luck to do extra damage. And I roll 10, so I do less damage. He rolls 3, I roll 4. And I'll try my luck again to do extra damage. I roll 9, no. So he's down to 7. Worth a try. He rolls 4, I roll 8. Am I going to make it? That would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? He rolls 9, I roll 7, and that's when I am dead again. Yes. Death number 7. Well, I was really living on borrowed time there for quite a while, so right, that was actually quite an exciting and quite a long journey. I think it looks like in order to win this book, you definitely need a skill of 12. You need a high luck, more than 10, and you need stamina probably more than 17, because that is going to cut it really fine in some places. So I'm going to be back next time. I will probably have rolled a character or 2 through this flowchart before I start the next game, so you don't have to watch that bit. And then I'll have a look at my map. I think it'll still make sense to start at the beginning of the dungeon, probably, because there are still some options that I don't know what is the best one. I don't know what equipment I will need or items I will need for the end game, and therefore which path is the correct one. I don't know those things because I haven't got to the end yet. There seems to be something about the gold rings. Maybe you need to collect the gold rings. So I think that taking the bridge is the wrong thing to do, because it means you give away 1 gold ring, and also you have to avoid being burgled, pickpocketed, I should say, probably by the dark imp as well. So I think I've got a few things that are definitely the right path. I don't know if I need the spear. I don't know if I need the sword. I do know, I'm quite sure it makes sense that you need the gold rings because you are collecting more than 1. So 2 of those, yeah. So I've got a plan for next time, and hopefully I'll be right, and I'll see if my next character survives. I may need to, because of the high skill you definitely need in this game, I may have to cheat a little bit, but yeah, we'll see. It's all for the enjoyment of the game, and of course if your skill is so low you never get anywhere, then where's the fun in that? So the game is meant to be hard, but of course it shouldn't be so hard that it's not fun. So I may have to just make a decision at some point that my character will start with 12 skill, for instance, or 11, just to make it a little bit possible to fail. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I definitely enjoyed this. dungeon crawl through memory lane, back to the nostalgia of the 80s. I'll see you again in my next episode of more Trial of Champions. If you enjoyed this, please like, share, comment, subscribe, join me on Patreon, and I will see you then for my fourth playthrough. And of course, I've finished 7 lives now, so I've got 35 lives to go. That should be possible, surely. Bye for now. Bye bye.